The next factor is attitude to risk and the fail fast mindset. So, risk taking or risk aversion is one of the most culturally debated issues in a startup ecosystem and uh, practically hubs all around the world. So, if you're not ready to take risk, if you're not really ready for the worst case scenarios, as most of the entrepreneurship were not during this pandemic, then you are bound to fail in your venture. So you must always have the attitude to risk, and the risk aversion attitude must always be there. As an entrepreneur, that must always be there at the front of your at the back of your mind. And the final factor is media. So media and blogs or social media or whatever you want to name it, covering technology, entrepreneurship, startup news, innovation topic about founders and funding, thinking, methodologies, everything. It has played an important role in the entrepreneurship culture. So when we hear about Google, I remember when I was studying, when I was completing my PG, there was always talk about how Google was the best company to work in, because they didn't talk about what the company was paying, or what was the morale of the company, what was the ethics of the company, but the main thing that was discussed through and through was the entrance of Google, right, in the Silicon Valley, where their main hub is located. The entrance of Google, where people didn't have to use the stairs or uh, the lift or elevator systems to get to their workplace, but rather they had these monkey bars or climbing bars, where people were made to work. They were made to physically work to get to their workplace. So at the start of the day, they are given that boost. They are given that physical boost to start their work. Their mind is freshen up, and we were told about how they didn't have these conventional uh, workplace. They didn't have cubicles. Rather, they had work benches all around, and instead of having a proper uh, chair to sit, they had bean bags or these exercise balls where they can stretch their muscles, right? And this is a very well known fact, and it is true as well. Google has this happy hours, where the employees get 1 hour where they can explore their creativity, where they can explore their innovation. Of course, you can while away that time, you can waste their time, and many of the Google products, for example, Orkut, the very first social media that was very popular during my time. Orkut was very popular. Orkut was defeated by Facebook eventually. So, Orkut, Gmail, Google Plus, everything is a result of happy hour. So the person who invented these projects during their happy hours will be credited, and they will also be given some part of the profits that are being um, pulled in because of these particular projects, right? So these are the factors that influence the entrepreneurship culture. And entrepreneurship culture of India has always been limited by our conventional methods and our mindset, really. Companies are now looking to expand the mindset of employees. Companies are places like Mumbai, the metropolitan cities, they've moved past the conventional methods and they've gone into the westernized working culture. But not everyone is happy with those changes, and not every region in India is going to cohabitate with those changes. This is a very gradual process. Not to say that the westernized culture is the only winning culture. Are some of our cultures, for example, our handloom industry has a very conventional approach to weaving out products, but they have been successful so far. Kanchipuram silks are a rage all around the world. I'm not saying that the traditional means, the conventional means are a dud, but we have to find the sweet spot. The global scenario as such must have a singular cultural aspect, some common cultural aspects in terms of startup to cohabitate in this digital world. In this digitized world, we must have some common points to coexist with each other. And finally, when talking about this entrepreneurship culture, startups, and all that, um, I'm sure in the second and third unit, in the first unit, you would have learned about different types of entrepreneurs. And I'm sure most of the books that you go to, most of the uh, uh, resources that you refer to, have listed out a lot of technical types of entrepreneurs: Fabian entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, introverted entrepreneurs, big entrepreneurs, small business entrepreneurs, whatnot. There are many types of entrepreneurs, but I'd like to introduce you to two types of entrepreneurs. One is your right brain entrepreneur and the left brain entrepreneur. Very simple. That's it. So when we think about entrepreneurship, we always end up thinking about the left part of the brain, right? Um, the I'm sorry. When we think about entrepreneurship, we always end up thinking about the right part of the brain, right, where the education and where the technical stuff happens. And when we say successful business scenario in Chennai, it's always about IT and how you can do things scientifically and how you can take things forward scientifically. But what really happens to the innovative part of the brain, the artsy part of the brain? Because entrepreneurship happens there as well. Uh, I'd like to list out some of the unique entrepreneurship ideas that have worked in the recent past. So, there is this pet cafe where people are allowed to take their pets, and the pets are allowed to mingle with each other. Of course, this cafe also caters to humans as well, but they also cater to these pets. Usually in cafes, pets are not allowed, but these cafes now that are coming up, they allow pets to be entered into these places, and they can mingle with each other. And art galleries were rage in the past. When you talk about when you see all the movies or read books from the 80s or 70s or 50s, art galleries, going to museums, they were the rage. But when technology developed, we lost track of that. But now all these things are coming up, all the paintings and these new age arts and new age poetry, they're all new age drawings, they're all coming up. And one type of entrepreneurship that has me enthralled in the recent past is social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is a for profit entrepreneurship program um, that aims to better the world, make the world a greener place to live in. So uh, these were a thing of the past. These were happening in the past. These things were happening in the past, but we didn't have much more knowledge about it. So what I want people to do is to go and explore what social entrepreneurship is all about. But uh, the very first time I heard about social entrepreneurship, my immediate thought was social media and maybe people who come up with social media platforms, they are called as social entrepreneurs. That was my thinking. That was my limited thinking. But when I got to know more about social entrepreneurship and the effects of social entrepreneurship on the economy, it really intrigued me. So I'd like to welcome you all to go and see what this social entrepreneurship is all about and what is the effect of this social entrepreneurs on the economy. Okay.